Well, howdy there, philatelic partners. I reckon it's time for the Piggyback Post to ride again. So last year, I hosted a stamp chat with the APS where I talked about one of my favorite stamp collecting special interests, U.S. local posts. And in conjunction with that stamp chat, I also set up my own modern local post, which I called the Piggyback Post. And this year, I wanted to run the Piggyback Post again. But this year, I decided to take my inspiration not from modern local posts, but from the Pony Express. So the Pony Express started in spring of 1860 by partners Russell, Majors, and Waddell. They formed the mail route under the name Central Overland, California, and Pikes Peak Express Company. Prior to the Pony Express, news and mail traveled very slowly between the eastern and western states. If you wanted to send a message from New York to California, your options were to either send it by ship to Panama, overland across the isthmus, and then again by ship up to the west coast. Or you could send it entirely overland by stagecoach. Both of these options could take well over a month. The Pony Express was formed with the goal of delivering mail across the country in 10 days or less. But more than just quick delivery, it served another purpose. You see, most of the overland stagecoach routes traveled through the southern states to avoid harsh winters. But as the tensions between the North and South were rising at this time, the government realized it needed to secure communications with the West that couldn't be interrupted by the South, should they secede. And when the southern states did secede in December of 1860, there was a push to get California to join the Confederacy or declare its independence. The Pony Express provided a way for the Union government to quickly communicate with California and encourage them to remain. The Pony Express route ran from St. Joseph, Missouri to Sacramento, California. It was designed for speed. Unlike a stagecoach, which pulled a full coach for a long distance, the Pony Express was a relay in which riders rode a single horse for short stretches. The mochila saddlebags were designed to be quickly swapped between horses at stations. Usually after about 75 miles, the rider would end his run for the day and swap to a new rider. The route boasted about 190 stations. They had about 400 horses or ponies, and they employed over 400 station managers and assistants and 80 riders. The express ran semi-weekly and could carry about 300 letters per trip. Most of them were from businesses, news organizations, or government officials. There were lots of dangers on the routes, bad weather, particularly dust storms or snowstorms, rough terrain, and conflicts with hostile groups of bandits or Native Americans. The cost to carry the mail was expensive. Starting price to carry half an ounce was $5. And by the end of the service, it had lowered to $1. And how was this cost paid? Well, often in cash when the mail was dispatched, but also by stamps. Wells Fargo & Co., who had invested heavily in stagecoach and overland express routes, they partnered with and eventually took over the Pony Express. They took complete control of the contract in 1861. Wells Fargo & Co. issued Pony Express stamps in $1, $2, and $4 values. And this year, my Piggyback Post stamps are inspired by the Wells Fargo design. Of course, it wasn't long after Wells Fargo & Co. took over the route that it basically ended. The transcontinental telegraph was completed on October 24th, 1861, and with this almost instant and much safer form of communication, the businesses and officials and news organizations that were the Pony Express's primary customer, well, they had another option. You know, when I was researching the Pony Express, I found that a lot of sources like to end with a reminder of how unsuccessful the Pony Express was. And yeah, As a business, it basically went bankrupt. Even with the high postage costs and government assistance, the cost of labor and upkeep on the trails and stations, it just didn't cover it. But I don't think we can accurately assess the value of the Pony Express by the company's profits alone. I mean, by delivering business mail quickly, they surely assisted in bolstering the profits of other companies. And although the mail relay was discontinued, the horses and stations acquired by Wells Fargo & Co. were used to further stagecoach expresses. The riders and station masters earned money and experience that they could invest into their lives, their family, their community. And the story of the Pony Express was an inspiration for the country. Buffalo Bill incorporated stories of his time working for the Pony Express into his Wild West shows, which toured across the US and Europe. If you consider the shows, books, movies, tourism that's been built on the Pony Express, I think it's probably made quite a bit of money by now. But even if it didn't make money, I'd like to think that there's more to his service than just flat profit. And speaking of not making a profit, the Piggyback Post runs every Saturday in October. All the money raised goes directly to my local art gallery. The gallery is a nonprofit run entirely by volunteers. The recent pandemic has really cut into our budget, and I want to try to raise some money that we need for repairs and upkeep on the building. If you come to visit the gallery in person, you can buy a stamp for $1, put it on a postcard, and drop it into the Piggyback letterbox for delivery. If you can't visit the gallery, you can order a stamped postcard for $5 from my Etsy store, and these cards will only be available in October and November 2021. Now, a full sheet of Piggyback Post stamps consists of 100 subjects, as you can see from this plate proof. Unfortunately, when I went to print the actual stamps, quite a few of them came out badly sintered, almost misperfed. But I have to use the stock I have. So to be as fair as possible, all of the stamps for the postcards will be selected randomly by capsule machine. And this random selection has another purpose. You see, while most stamps on the sheet have the pig running westward, one stamp out of every 100, position 17, has the pig running to the east. This lost pig variety is a rare invert, and you just might be lucky enough to draw it from the machine. So I hope you'll join me in this fun philatelic event celebrating National Stamp Collecting Month, philatelic artwork, and the 160th anniversary of the Wells Fargo Pony Express. Until next time, keep enjoying stamp collecting. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to learn more about the Pony Express, I'll share some links in the description to the sources I used in my research. I'll also post links to my Etsy store if you'd like to buy a Piggyback postcard for yourself or for a friend. I can only make these videos when I have time, so please subscribe to be notified when a new one is uploaded, and yeehaw!